Hey Snow, how you doing?
Um, MJ, I am doing excellent. I'm just sitting here having a blue moon with a ton of oranges in it.
Extra orange slices tonight?
Extra orange
Extra.
slices. I filled the whole glass with oranges and then I poured the blue moon over it.
And why would that be?
Because today was indictment day.
And now, again, we are recording this on March 30th, 2023. And for the first time in history, a president has been indicted. Or
Yep.
former president has been indicted. And
Yeah, because Nixon was gonna get indicted, but Gerald Ford had pardoned him. So
before he could get charged.
yeah, he got pardoned.
You know what Biden should do? Biden should just come out and pardon him.
Why?
Just to, gain some credibility back, with that side.
Dude, they'll still hate him. I mean, these people don't give a fuck if their social security gets taken away from them. That's how dumb they are.
Right.
They don't realize that. They don't realize that, that that's on the agenda because they believe everything that comes out of the right's mouth,
And when I, got the little notification of the news, I had sent you a link to it, and apparently it must not have gone through because then you had texted me an hour later like, oh my God, he got indicted. And I'm just like, that's what I was trying to tell you before.
Yeah, and that's because I didn't know until an hour later because I listened to my shows pre-recorded.
Oh, so you were on a delay.
Commercial, so I can skip through them. So that's why I didn't know until then.
Oh, good.
But let me just say this. Now, I don't just want him arrested and whatnot because I don't like his politics or whatnot. This
Right.
isn't what it's about. Hey, I visited the great state of Massachusetts, went to Salem. He deserves a fair trial
Right.
and whatnot. I want him to be held responsible for always being a criminal. He is finally having to face the music of his criminal actions. And the fact that he has brainwashed his supporters is the saddest part. I mean, these people think that he's truly a good guy. It's like, no, he's not. Go visit. If they weren't such country bumpkins, then they would actually go to New York City and talk to some people. Go there.
Right.
I'm telling you, when I went there, it was three different kids, college kids, were
Right.
I will always hate Donald Trump. He never paid my dad. My dad was a contractor, did work for him, never got paid. Three of them. And I was only there for 3 days.
Right, and as much as I don't like Trump, he has a right to a fair trial. Now, the one thing that I think we should explain to everybody, because I have CNN on right now, no one really explains the process and the right. They're all going saying, well, the prosecutor was politically biased on it, and this is just trying to derail his campaign. This is political bias. It's election interference. But what they don't understand is you had to convince a grand jury right? And as you know grand jury. You're the expert on grand juries.
I've been on a grand jury,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Is the grand jury had to decide that there was evidence enough to proceed,
Yeah.
right? And what
And
do
now
they call
he
it?
gets defense. Like, they're only hearing from the prosecutor,
Right.
the jury. Yeah.
And there's substantial evidence to proceed. Now, that's not an admission of guilt. That's not saying you're guilty or innocent. That's
Right.
just there is enough evidence to proceed to a criminal trial on this.
Right.
And that's what gets lost. Whether the prosecutor is biased or not, the grand jury is the one who decides to proceed with this.
Right. A jury of our peers.
Right.
Yeah.
You know where I'd like to be right now, tonight?
You know what I think, you know what I like the most about this, about him finally being indicted? This now opens the door for the other indictments where, there's charges against him in Georgia. They're still investigating there. So now maybe some of these other people and maybe
Right.
Merrick Garland will go ahead and move forward with their investigations and move those into indictment.
Right, and they actually said the one in Georgia could actually proceed faster because of the way
Right.
the New York courts are going. But and also in Manhattan, they're also looking into whether he was overvaluing or devaluing his properties for tax reasons.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
But you know where I'd like to be tonight if I could be anywhere?
New York?
If I could be a fly on the wall anywhere. And it's not Mar-a-Lago, because the fly on the wall, that one is dead because it got smushed by a bottle of ketchup.
Right.
I would love to be wherever Hillary Clinton is tonight watching this news. She must be sitting back there with her blue moon, with her extra orange slices also, kicking back, just enjoying the shit out of this news. And the only reason I make a joke about that is because the other side, without any evidence at all, was like, lock her up, lock her up.
I know.
Well,
No trial, no nothing. Like, they didn't say what I said about, like, Salem. I mean, everyone needs to go visit Salem so they realize why everyone does deserve a fair trial.
yeah. And he does, bring it to trial. And that's what the law and order side, right? Because the right tends to be the law and order side for the most part.
They claim to be the law and order party.
Yeah, so shouldn't they be like, okay, let's see how this plays out in the justice system without saying that he's being railroaded, he's being persecuted, and all this other shit. Just let it play out. And if it's nothing, it's nothing.
I don't know, but those Congress people are in trouble too. Elise Stefanik and Jim Jordan, because they are the ones that had asked for. They wanted all the evidence that the DA had submitted to them in Congress. Remember that?
Yeah.
It happened like a couple weeks ago. Well, whenever the whole thing started, like with him talking about how he was going to be indicted on Tuesday and whatnot. Yeah, those two. Now I guess those two are going to get investigated for obstruction of justice. Like, how many of these people? It's like they're willing to die for this guy. I mean, they're willing to let their careers die. Some of his supporters are willing to die for him.
Well, I think it's more that it's because this is like the Super Bowl, It's your team against that team. And no
Right.
matter what, you're going to choose your team over the other team. Like, hey, that was pass interference. Well, the ref didn't see it. And that's people
You
how
would think that they would learn their lesson from Michael Cohen, though. I mean, you would think he was arrested, went to prison.
well, yeah, but again, they paint him as he was and he is a shady character,
Right.
But no, they don't understand that, and it's just like my football analogy. The ref didn't see the pass interference call, so how can you call it after the play is over? It's the exact same thing. It's all about your team winning, and that's what it's about. It's not about did Trump do this or not.
Yeah, but the sad thing is, and my point, like, with bringing up Cohen, is Trump isn't on a team. Trump's team is Trump. That's the only person on Trump's team. You know what I mean? And these people are all on his team, and it's like, he doesn't think you're on his team, okay? He only uses you so he can start shit.
But at the same time,
answer me this: how many of the 1-6ers did he pardon? How many?
Well, none. But he did.
Oh, right?
He did invite them to sing the national anthem at Waco, Texas, over the weekend.
Right, and that's like, yeah, because he wants them to go to a well-known anti-government, place. Like, historical. I mean, now it's historical. It did make history, so yeah.
But there's a message, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for the national anthem. I still stand for it. I don't kneel. I stand for the national anthem. But I respect people that do kneel for the national anthem. But I listened to that, and that was creepy. With all those 1-6 people doing the national anthem, because these are people who attacked the Capitol, and he's defending them in Waco, Texas.
And why don't they just make up a new anthem that's all about Trump? Because it's like, you guys, I hate to say this to them, but you are not, I know that you think that you're patriotic Americans because you put the gear on and whatnot, just like a football team. But you are not. If you hate, you attack the Capitol, but also you hate some of us. How can you say that you're like a patriotic American and say that you hate other Americans?
It
makes no sense.
Yeah, like, why don't they, that's a great point. Why don't they write their new national anthem? And you could, you could use that Led Zeppelin song, Tangerine, and just rewrite the lyrics to it. You know what I mean? And just go, right. Okay, this is our new national anthem. It's Trump. Trump is their messiah. And I did finish that documentary about Waco that you turned me on to.
He's a cult leader, yeah.
And
he's the same as David Koresh.
And the scary thing is, I saw the similarities to how these people worshipped David Koresh because he was their messiah, he was their Jesus, and he convinced them that he was their Jesus, to the point where even today, some of his followers are still, that's what they believe. And forget all the groomer shit, drag queens groomer shit. When you hear the stories about what David Koresh was doing to the little kids there, it's horrific. Horrific.
Yeah, that's like, so recently I listened to an interview, a radio host had interviewed one of the journalists that was there at Waco. And the host had asked him, he's like, so who started the fire then? And the journalist goes, oh, they definitely started the fire, the Branch Davidians. He's like, they definitely started the fire. But he goes, that's not even the most important thing to take away from this. The real story is about the kids he was molesting, having sex with, his 40 wives, and the fact that he could have had his guns taken away, but because he's in Texas, so he got into a fight with one of the other people in his cult. They got into a fight with guns. He shot this person, got charged with attempted murder because they got into a fight over which one of them could raise the dead. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And so,
And, for the people who haven't watched the documentary, watch it. In spoiler alert, turn this off if you want to watch it. Is if you are married and you join that cult, your wife was no longer your wife. That was David Koresh's wife at that point.
Yeah.
And he was having sex with your wife.
He was having sex with 12-year-olds, too.
Yeah. So, screw all I said about drag queens, you know what I mean? And at least in this situation. At the same time, though, I think this documentary did really good at, giving both sides. Our government did some really shady shit to them during the negotiation process.
Yeah, they didn't handle it. There was some of the people in there that were doing things that weren't even protocol, and the other, because when you watch the documentary, you know how some of them are like, I don't know why they called for this. Like, this isn't normal to do this,
Yeah. The part that got to me was
torturous stuff, like with all the torturous shit, too, to try to get them to come out and whatnot.
Yeah, playing the music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also when they were trying to negotiate to get more kids out of the building, and then the guy that was in charge of the military, not the negotiators, the guy that was in charge of the military decided, I'm going to send out the tanks to crush David Koresh's car collection.
Why? Yeah, and why would you crush? Why? That did piss me off. It's like, why would you crush his car? I mean, like, that car was like a nice old car. I'm like, what? The car didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
Who cares if the owner is a molesting piece of crap? If you guys would have done things right, he would have lost his car anyways, regardless. Like, it could have been taken or whatnot.
Right, and the thing was, the negotiators were making progress.
Yeah.
And then that was when they started crushing the cars, that's when it all went south. But at the same time, I'm not defending, the Branch Davidian, because they shot 4 federal officers.
I know.
And that's what led to this.
There's wrong on both sides. But it's like, I did think that they're the ones that set the fire, that he set the fire, because you can hear him on the recording, too, talking about accelerants and getting the hay and whatnot to burn.
And the other thing that struck me about watching that is, because David Koresh envisioned himself the Messiah. He was Jesus, the second coming of Jesus Christ. What's the obsession with Christianity and guns?
That's what I want to know. I've been thinking about that for like a week now. After watching that, I'm like, where in the Bible does it talk about Jesus and the apostles and all that armed up with AR-15s and whatnot? Where in the Bible? Show me. And they've got grenades and all this shit.
Yeah.
Please show me. Like,
yeah,
where in the Bible does Jesus have military-grade weapons?
Right. And isn't Jesus' teachings, I mean, I'm not a Christian, okay? I don't really go to church. I haven't read the Bible. But I don't think, isn't like the message supposed to be love thy neighbor?
Yeah.
Take care of others.
That's like the most important one to take away is love thy neighbor.
But then why would you have to arm up to the hilt?
And go kill your neighbor.
And
go kill thy neighbor. Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand the connection there. I don't understand the connection between extreme religious people and their weapons, and I don't understand why they think that they have the right to justify in killing
and
humans who are their neighbors.
And isn't the other message of Jesus to welcome immigrants?
Yeah, Jesus was an immigrant.
Yeah,
he wasn't American. I don't know what America didn't even exist then.
Yeah, again, that's not even bashing on conservatives. That's more a question. And if you're a conservative out there, you can reach us on social media, Reality Redemption, and you can explain to us what the connection is. And if you're, a Christian, you're following, the teachings of Jesus, why? What's the connection there? Help us sort it out for us to understand. What's going on.
Why do you have to have an arsenal if the Lord is on your side and protecting you?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, Jesus will protect you at all times. And we spoke too soon. The other day we did the podcast and we're talking about John Wick and gun porn. And what happens a couple days later, there's a shooting at a Christian school in Nashville.
Again, Christian, see, that made me think about it too. I'm like, what is the deal with this?
Yeah,
Christianity and guns. How in the fuck do those two things go hand in hand?
Well, no, Mike Pence was on CNN tonight, and he was talking about that because they asked him about that. And of course, it wasn't the guns, and he called it a hate crime against Christians.
Yeah, I heard that some of them some on the right started piping up saying that they want a hate crime law put on the books because it's a hate crime against Christians.
Which could be. We don't know. That could be the case. That it was a hate crime against Christians. And yeah, maybe they should investigate it as such.
We don't know enough yet. You know what I just heard, like on the hourly news thing? I had heard a blurb about the Vegas shooting. Now they're saying that the reason why he shot that concert up, was because he had an extreme dislike for casinos. That's what I heard on the news. And I'm like, I guess they found this out recently somehow. I don't know. By maybe like digging into more of his background. I have no idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe he had financial issues because he lost money for being a gambler. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe that's what happened. Was he lost a lot of money, and he was like, "I'm going to get back at them." It's like, you fucking put your money out there.
And suppose
you don't have to go in there.
and supposedly to get back to Nashville, the shooter was transgender, and of course this is going to deviate off the gun conversation. It's going to deviate off the left versus right and the whole culture wars thing that we're all going through. And now it's going to put it on, this shooter was transgender. And then, Marjorie Taylor Greene goes on Twitter and keeps on posting about how, on this date, it's going to be Transgender Vengeance Day. How does that help the situation at all? That's going to escalate violence, not decrease violence.
I know, she's just a cunt. I mean, I don't know what else to say about her other than that. It's like, I hate to just resort to name calling, but she is not human. There's no way that you can be that fucking cold and callous of a person.
Well, but that's everybody. That's a lot of people. I had somebody on my Facebook feed, and this guy is conservative, and he likes his guns. So be it. But he posted this two side-by-side pictures. And he goes, this is what a bullet does to an engine block. And this is what, or an AR-15, this is what an AR-15 bullet does to an engine block. And the next one goes, this is what an AR-15 bullet does to a tranny. And in one picture, it shows an engine block with a hole in it. In the next picture, it shows the shooter dead of Nashville. And not defending the Nashville shooter at all, but how can that shit be allowed on fucking Facebook?
I don't know.
And that, like, dude, that's a hate.
Not going to Facebook jail.
That's a, you know, and I'm again not defending the shooter, but that is a hateful statement to transgender people, and that's not where the focus should be.
I know that's trying to say that, like, by him doing that, he's trying to say that all transgender people are gonna mass shooting in Christian schools.
Well, then, but then we could take it to the level. I'm like, okay, well, if you go to Marjorie Taylor Greene and say, would you consider background checks and restricting gun sales to transgender people? And just ask her flat out and see what she says. Because that's where you get the hypocrisy.
She would say no. That she won't do it. They were having this discussion in Congress, and gosh, I forget the congressperson's name, but he was standing out. He used to be a principal before he became a congressperson, and he was calling them out. And they were, like, in front of the press, too, calling them cowards, going, you're cowards, you're all cowards. And they kept trying to, like, run off and hide, you know, get out of there because they didn't want to have to answer stuff on camera. But, yeah, the guy was, like, he was going at him. He's like, and then one of that Thomas Massey guy, I think, went ahead and piped up and talked shit back to the congressman. And Thomas, by the way, Thomas Massey is the one the congressperson that had the Christmas photo with him and his whole family all holding AR-15s, right. And it said something like, Santa, please bring ammo. Yeah, so the congressperson's left going, have you ever even been in a school? Because that asshole brought up the whole thing of arming teachers. And he's like, that is not a good idea. There is no data out there that supports that works. There is no data. I mean, he was going off. You should try to look at the clip if you can, or listen to the clip if you can find it, or I'll try to find it.
Yeah, but...
It's brilliant.
But, you know, we won't even... I was listening to Bill Burr's podcast, too, and he was talking about, you know, he goes, and I understand why people like their guns, and live out in the middle of nowhere, you need a gun to protect yourself, and that's all fine. Right. But why can't, if you're a sane person with a gun, why wouldn't you want other people who are, you know, if you're not sane, why wouldn't you want to, if you care that much about crime, restrict those people, if you're not sane, from getting guns? And it's a valid point. And, you know, and we've said this, you know, we're not anti-gun. We're just anti the psychos getting their hands on the guns too easily. And when you say that you care about children and you're going to ban books that, you know, or that talk critically about American history, you're going to ban those books, or you're going to ban the Statue of David. You're a principal in Florida and you post a picture of the Statue of David, right, and you get fired for that. But you're all about freedom. You're all about the First Amendment and shit like that. You're all about protecting the children, but you won't do the very least thing you can do. And I don't know how this person in Nashville got their gun.
Yeah, I don't think it's come out yet. But I mean, the parents did say that the person was not allowed to have guns. The parents said that they forbid their daughter from having guns.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where they got the gun, but the point, the rhetoric of the whole, criminals are still going to do crime. Why is it, though, in the mass shootings, it's always like a person, or most of the time, at least always recently, it is people acquiring these guns legally. They are getting them legally. So this is not the guns that they're like worried about. Well, they're still going to get a legal gun. This is not even those.
Right. It's not a black market gun.
And then to sit there and say, wait a second, and to sit there and say, well, criminals are still going to do the crime. Okay, well, people are still going to burglarize. People are still going to, have traffic accidents. People are still going to... Should we just get rid of all those laws?
Right. I was watching one congressman they were interviewing, and he goes, well, Joe Biden has a car that goes 150 miles an hour. Should he not have that? No, he should, because of freedom. I'm like, yeah, but there's consequences if you're driving 150 miles an hour. You're gonna you get thrown in jail. The argument is,
And it's like, is he out there driving at 150 miles an hour?
And no, well, the president can't even drive a car. It's against, Secret Service protocol. But
when he was allowed to drive, though,
no, he wasn't.
It's like an older Corvette, right? Isn't that what he had?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of cars that go really fast. Have you people ever seen like NASCAR?
But what does Joe Biden have to do? He has to have a driver's license, and he has to register and insure that car.
Right.
The argument falls apart right there.
I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do they want to get rid of that because oh well, people still get it. People still drive drunk. People still, commit burglaries. People still do that. So so their theory is then we should just get rid of all those laws, right? Because they're going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
People are going to do stuff anyways. So fuck it.
Yeah. Hey, drive drunk 150 miles an hour. Hillary, if you're listening, after you're downing your Blue Moons with the extra orange slices, and you're drinking the prison bitch shots, go out, race your car 150 miles an hour. There's no consequences to this shit. It's like, one funny thing I saw somebody sent me was, that Donna Summer song, I'm So Excited?
Yeah.
But somebody redid it, and it was Donald Trump singing, I'm So Indicted.
That's a good one.
Dude, and before we wrap this one up, because I think we have some Jon Stewart in South Park to watch tonight. We just turned this on because it was a big news day.
I need to have more good laughs today. Let's keep the laughing going.
Yeah, I had a bad day too. Okay, so this is from Donald J. Trump, and he put this on Truth Social earlier. Okay. So old Cheeto Thumbs typed this out.
Cheeto Thumbs.
These thugs and radical left monsters have just indicated the 45th President of the United States of America. I did not read that wrong. That's what he typed out.
Indicated?
Indicated instead of indicted.
Okay. Yeah, because I was actually going to guess that. I'm like, he really typed that, right?
He really typed that, yeah. But that's his Cheeto Thumbs, you know what I mean? I'm surprised. And you know what? And other than indicated, everything else is in lower caps, if believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
And the leading Republican candidate by far for the 2024 nomination for president, and this is when he finally got the cap locks to kick in. This is an attack on our country, the likes of which has never been seen before. It is likewise a continuing attack on our once and free, fair elections. The USA is now a third world nation, a nation in serious decline. So sad.
You know why the United States is slipping into being a third world country? Because of our gross wealth inequalities. That is why.
Yeah. Well, shit.
He's like, it's like, dude, your points are a little right. They're just like askew. Because yes, we're heading down that path of no longer having a middle class because y'all, the folks on your side want to gut the middle class.
Right, and he's talked about free and fair elections when you actually created insurrection to stop the count of a free and fair election. The hypocrisy is just off the charts. And the reason he's doing this, and I hate, sorry conservatives, he's just doing this to make a buck out of you for his legal funds.
He's running a grift on you, and you know what? If you're, like, I feel sorry for y'all, but if you're dumb enough to send that man your money, I don't know how to help you. Like, I don't know what else to say, Yeah. Why don't you just sign over your Social Security checks to him? I mean, why not? Funky as hell.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, that's our special midweek podcast. Because of big news, and I'm gonna finish this Blue Moon, these orange slices.
Me too. Delicious. Never
Delicious.
So good.
All right, so cheers, Snow.
Yeah, cheers. Bye, y'all.
All right, we'll talk to you next week. Bye, y'all.